Hi, I am Tim Scheib, husband of one, father of five, realtor, and this is Behind the Sign, episode 4. All right, first I want to go off on a little bit of tangent. Our market, we have a very, very low inventory in real estate. And one of the things we try and do is work together with other agents and try and get listings that aren't listed yet so we can potentially show them and sell them before it hits the market and there's multiple people running after it. So we did that. You know, we were able to get into a listing. I took some buyers into a listing and they loved it, which I knew they would. And we wrote the offer. And then the seller decides, well, we want to put it on the market. I understand where they're coming from. Just kind of disappointing that we had to go through that. And then all of a sudden, never mind. We want to wait and see anyway. But at the end of the day, here's what it boils down to. The seller has every right to test the market, and in this market, a lot of times that's a good idea, but it could also come back to bite you. So at this point, I've always said, I told my clients this too, everything works out the way it's supposed to. So let's just say that they have a weekend of showings and no offers. Our offer is going to become much less. Now, if there is offers over the weekend, then we are still going to get a chance with the highest and best offer. And with highest and best, you come in and you give them your best dollar amount plus best terms. And, you know, if we win, we win. But at the end of the day, everything always works out the way it's supposed to. And these situations can be very difficult. I run into these a lot with for sale by owners. And that's where I'm going today with this episode. It's about for sale by owners and knowledge of the market, knowledge of how real estate works and how real estate works in this area, and how you deal with some difficult situations. So when you have a market where you have low inventory, a lot of times for sale by owners start popping up more often because they think, well, it's super easy to sell my house. And it does work that way. I remember back in like 2004 and 5 when I got into business, I called for sale by owners all the time. And a lot of times the person was selling for sale by owner because they wanted to sell their house. They needed to get as much as they possibly could because maybe they overpaid for it in the past. A prime example, I had a client, they had a house. They bought it from acquaintance of some sort. I think it was someone they worked with or a coworker, something like that. But when I walked in the house, I was like, all right, so what'd you guys pay for the house? And I knew because I saw on the assessor page that they paid this much money. Well, paying this much money is okay, but it was too much money. And when I saw it, I was like, you know, this might be what you really, really wanted and you're willing to pay that. That's great, but you guys know you overpaid. And they looked at me and smiled and said, yeah, we know. That's why we're in the position we're in. And they knew that they had overpaid, and they knew they overpaid because it was someone they knew kind of took advantage of them. And not only did they take advantage of them, there were some situations with the house that had some issues too. And they were taken advantage of on the inspection as well. End of day. Back then it was different. And when I would walk into a house that was for sale by owner, it was typically because they bought it for sale by owner and they paid way too much. Today's market, it's really easy to sell a house. So let's go out and sell a house. We'll just do it ourselves. We don't need to pay a real estate agent. Why would we pay a real estate agent when we can sell it ourselves? Well, when you have the lowest inventory ever, it can get really, really difficult. It can get really, really sticky. And there's also people out there looking to take advantage. Buyers that are looking to take advantage. Investors that are looking to take advantage. How do you know as a consumer you're doing the right thing? Many for sale by owners think or feel they know as much as real estate agents. A lot of times I'll have people tell me to my face, well, what do? You know, you don't put a house on the market and it sells and then you get paid all this money. A lot of times they think they know better than the professional. And there's not too many occupations where the consumer knows more than the professional. But there are certain circumstances in every industry where it is that way. Knowing how to handle situations takes time, it takes knowledge, it takes experience. In a situation where there is multiple offers, understanding how to navigate that's very important. But here's the first thing I'll tell you. Buyers today they look at it for sale by owner, and the first thing that pops in their mind is, oh, they're not paying a commission, so we're going to go ahead and offer less money because they're not paying a commission. Seller thinks, well, we're going to make more money because we're not paying a commission. So both parties are thinking exactly alike, and at the end of the day, they end up coming together at a certain point where if they would have just listed the home, it's highly likely they would have net the same amount of money. Very likely. There are circumstances where that buyer comes in and buys a house and the seller makes more money and the buyer's happy too. That's fine. It does happen. But on top of that, 90% or greater buyers today are working with a real estate agent. Working with a real estate agent, that agent is going to call that for sale by owner. That agent's going to request their commission. So basically, in our market, we have one fee that's paid by the seller, and that fee is split between real estate brokerages. So they come in and they want half of that real estate commission already. So you're already, as a for sale by owner, you need to plan to pay half. Well, now you're already paying half. So basically, for half of it, you're going to get a professional services. You don't have to deal with the awkwardness of working directly with someone who tells you that, hey, your house has issues. That can be a very awkward situation. But you can also have someone who's going to negotiate for you. So it is very important to take into account the knowledge of real estate agents, knowing how to handle situations, knowing how to market homes, knowing how to say, you know what, this first offer that you're getting, it is a very good offer. And I feel like we have the house a little bit too high right now, but if you're getting an offer on it, I would not pass it up, because typically we see the first offer is the best offer. Some agents will be able to tell their clients that. Some agents, they still struggle with that. There's a misconception. Real estate agents fail, I think, about 90% of the time. And the reason for that is this business is not that easy. And so if you look at how we are looked at as professionals, you have for sale by owners who, obviously a lot of times they think they can do what we can do, and sometimes it happens. You have discount brokerages who just want to go out and save the client money, and it's the right thing for some people. That's fine. It's competition, and that's totally fine. You have websites out there that try and undercut you. Like, as a professional, we are undercut a lot, and it's very difficult. So 90% or greater of people who get into the real estate business fail. But they get into the business thinking, I know people. I'm going to sell a bunch of houses and make all sorts of money, and there's not a whole lot of work to it. And that's why they fail, because in all reality, we have a high number of real estate agents. For example, in our market today, we have probably around 2,700 realtors, and we only have 1,900 homes for sale. That's a very difficult business, very, very competitive. So it's the old rule of 90-10. 10% of the real estate agents do 90% of the business. So that means that a lot of those people, a lot of those agents who just got into the business to make a bunch of money aren't going to make it. So going back to the for sale by owners, being very cautious and understanding that this market is difficult, and if 90% of real estate agents don't make it, it's really difficult for a for sale by owner to make it. Some of the issues that you can run into on a for sale by owner, well, first of all, you're probably going to pay half the commission to another real estate agent, to the buyer's broker. But you're also going to have to deal with inspection stuff. You're going to have to deal with someone telling you your house isn't perfect. That can be very emotional, and sometimes it's nice to have someone be that in-between person. You have to have people who write offers that are really low. Investors will prey on for sale by owners. They do that all the time. They try and take advantage of somebody who doesn't understand the market, and they think they can get a deal. So you're going to have to deal with investors that are preying on you. One of the things that we deal a lot with in our business is either mom and dad or boyfriend or best friend. They always step into negotiations and they try and tell the buyer what to accept. Oh no, you need to offer less money, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to ask for a new furnace, you need to ask for a new roof. So somehow you, as a for sale by owner, are going to have to deal with those issues, which can be very difficult as well. I think the National Association has between 10 and 16% for sale by owner is going to sell their home for 10 to 16% less than what a realtor would. Those statistics I don't really pay attention to, because how do we really, really know? Unless a for sale by owner sells a house here and a real estate agent sells a house here, the same house, and we see two different results, that's the only way you can say that that actually happens. Statistically, I understand where they're coming from, but I don't really fall for that. I do feel like we as real estate agents have value, and a lot of that value is our knowledge. What do we know about the market? Just as important, I shouldn't say more important, but just as important, what do we know about how to handle situations? Situations are key, and how can we get through those situations without a deal blowing up? And we work on that every day. Just last night, my wife and I, she's a real estate agent, we were both at the same time. She was in her office talking to her client because an inspection was being a little over dramatic, and she was talking to her client, the seller, and I needed to talk to my client. We have kids in the other room, so we were like, I walked back, I looked in the office with the door shut, and she's on the phone. I'm like, oh, shoot, I need to call my client. We work on these deals every day and every night, and that is something that is overlooked. So when you hire a real estate agent, you're hiring them for their knowledge, their availability. You're hiring them for their assistance. You're hiring them to be your in-between person. We're almost like psychologists. So we deal with a lot of emotions when buying a home. And it can be very difficult to just jump into it not knowing what you're doing, not knowing how the numbers work out, not knowing how the showings work, not knowing how offers work. So I highly recommend that every for sale by owner should at least talk to an agent. And if you feel like you know more than a lot of real estate agents, then pick the best realtor out there and interview them and find out what they know. That is super, super, super important. But again, we get paid for our knowledge. I think every professional gets paid for their knowledge of everything inside of that business. And that is something that you just got to hold on tight to, because knowledge is everything. Understanding is everything. So anyway, so back to the beginning of this, I want to say that hopefully I can sell this house, and hopefully that my knowledge for my clients will help them at the end get a better deal. I feel like everything works out for a reason. And when you are considering listing your home, or if you're considering buying a car, if you're considering, whatever you're doing, just understand that the professionals have knowledge. They work in it every day, and just respect that. I guess that's all I can say. So hope you have a good one, and we'll talk to you guys very soon.